It was the summer of '23, and I was beyond excited for the school break. My friends and I had planned a trip to an isolated cabin in the woods, just like in those horror movies. We laughed at the cliché, never thinking anything could go wrong. The first day was a blast. We swam, hiked, and told ghost stories around the campfire. But on the second day, things started to get weird. We found an old journal in the cabin, filled with strange symbols and writings. It seemed to be a diary of someone who had stayed there before. The last entry was a warning, something about a ritual gone wrong and a curse. We laughed it off, thinking it was just a prank left by previous visitors. That night, we heard strange noises outside the cabin. It sounded like whispers, soft and eerie, coming from the dark woods. We tried to ignore it, but the whispers grew louder, turning into cries. The next morning, we found strange markings on the ground, like something had been dragged through the mud. We decided to investigate, following the trail deep into the forest. The deeper we went, the more unsettling things became. We found an old abandoned village, hidden away and forgotten by time. The houses were in ruins, and there was a strange symbol painted everywhere. In the center of the village, we found a stone altar, stained with something dark and old. The same symbol from the journal was carved into it. We realized then that the warning in the journal was real. We hurried back to the cabin, but it was too late. The curse had awakened, and it was angry. We were trapped with no way to escape. The nights became a nightmare. We heard voices, saw shadows moving in the dark, and felt a cold chill in the air. One by one, my friends started to act strange, as if something was controlling them. I tried to fight it, but the curse was too strong. It wanted something from us, something we couldn't understand. The last thing I remember was standing by the altar, the voices in my head growing louder, demanding a sacrifice. I looked down at my hands, covered in something dark and wet, and then everything went black. I woke up in a hospital weeks later. They told me I was found alone in the cabin, my friends missing. They never found them, and the village was never there. I know what happened, but no one believes me. The curse is still out there, waiting for its next victims. And every night I hear the whispers calling me back to the woods.
It was the summer after my junior year of high school, and my friends and I were ready for the adventure of a lifetime. We planned a road trip across the country, hitting all the major landmarks and camping along the way. We were young, invincible, and eager to explore. The first few days were incredible. We saw breathtaking landscapes, met interesting people, and enjoyed the freedom of the open road. But as we ventured further from home, things began to take a dark turn. We were driving through a remote part of Utah when our van started acting up. The engine sputtered, and a strange fluid leak appeared. We were stranded in the middle of nowhere, miles from the nearest town. Luckily, a group of friendly locals came to our aid. They helped us fix the van and even invited us to stay the night at their secluded cabin in the woods. We were grateful for their hospitality and accepted their offer. The cabin was rustic but cozy, filled with old photographs and antique furniture. The locals were kind and shared stories of their lives in the wilderness. But as the night wore on, I began to notice something off about our hosts. They seemed to be watching us, their eyes never leaving our faces. Their smiles were forced, and their laughter a little too loud. I brushed it off as paranoia and went to bed, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. That night, I was awakened by a strange noise coming from outside the cabin. I looked out the window and saw our hosts digging in the yard, their faces twisted in concentration. I watched in horror as they unearthed a human skull, its empty eye sockets staring back at me. I woke my friends, and we quickly realized that we were in grave danger. Our hosts were not who they seemed, and we were trapped in their twisted game. We made a plan to escape, waiting for the right moment to make our move. But our hosts were always watching, always one step ahead. The next day, they took us on a hike, leading us deeper into the wilderness. We knew that this was our chance, and we had to act fast. We managed to slip away, running through the dense forest, our hearts pounding in our chests. We could hear our hosts calling our names, their voices filled with rage. We ran for hours, stumbling through the dark woods, until we finally reached a road. We flagged down a passing car and were taken to safety. The police were called, and the cabin was searched, but our hosts were never found. The human skull was just the tip of the iceberg, and the cabin was filled with evidence of their dark deeds. We were lucky to escape with our lives, but the memories of that summer vacation will haunt us forever. The smiles of our hosts, the sound of their laughter, and the chilling sight of the human skull will never leave me. We learned a valuable lesson about trust and the dangers of the unknown. We thought we were invincible, but we were just pawns in a game we didn't understand. That summer vacation was supposed to be a time of joy and exploration, but it turned into a nightmare that we will never forget.
I had always loved the beach, the sound of the waves, the salty breeze, the endless horizon. It was my escape from the daily grind. So when my friends and I decided to spend our summer vacation at a secluded beach house, I was thrilled. The first few days were heavenly. We swam, sunbathed, and enjoyed the fresh seafood. But on the fourth day, something strange happened. While walking along the shore, I stumbled upon a mysterious object. It was an ancient tombstone, half buried in the sand, dating back to 1890. Intrigued, I called my friends over, and we started digging around it. As we uncovered more of the tombstone, we discovered a series of cryptic symbols and a name that seemed to resonate with a chilling echo in my mind. We decided to research the name and symbols when we got back to the beach house. That night, a terrible storm hit. The wind howled, and the waves crashed against the shore with a ferocity I had never seen before. We were trapped in the beach house with no way to call for help. As the storm raged on, we began to hear whispers in the wind. Faint at first, but growing louder, the whispers seemed to be calling out the name on the tombstone. We were terrified, but curiosity drove us to continue our research. We discovered that the tombstone belonged to a sailor who had been lost at sea over a century ago. The symbols were part of a curse, a warning to those who dared to disturb his resting place. The whispers grew louder, turning into screams, and we realized that we had awakened something dark and vengeful. The curse was real, and it was coming for us. We spent the night in terror, huddled together as the storm continued to rage and the screams grew closer. By morning, the storm had passed, but the beach was transformed. The tombstone was gone, and in its place were remnants of shipwrecks, bleached whale bones, and other eerie findings. We left the beach house, shaken and forever changed. The curse had spared us, but the haunting memories remained. The story I've shared with you may seem like a work of fiction, but the mysteries of the ocean are real and often unexplained. From ancient tombstones to the skeletal remains of shipwrecked sailors, beaches around the world have revealed some truly bizarre and unsettling discoveries. If you doubt the authenticity of this tale, I challenge you to look up similar cases. Explore the news reports, delve into the accounts of beachgoers who have stumbled upon the unexpected, and uncover the secrets that lie beneath the waves. The ocean is a vast and mysterious place, filled with wonders and horrors alike. Are you brave enough to explore its depths and uncover its secrets? The truth is out there, waiting to be discovered.